Hello, welcome to another episode of the Blue Mountain Makes podcast. I'm Mary Lynn, coming to you from my office today. Trying something a little bit different, recording early in the morning when I am not my best, so bear with me. I'm trying to get this in before my workday starts. So, I have no finished objects to share with you guys today. I don't want to say I haven't had any knitting mojo. I think I just haven't had any mojo, period. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. Kind of been in a little bit of a slump, but things are getting better. If you watched my last episode, talked a little bit about how we've had some troubles with our dogs. That's all better. Everybody's healed up. My old lady dog is now decided she's allergic to everything, so we're in and out of the vet's office with that one now. So it's just one of those. It's just one thing after another. And I think knitting kind of fell by the wayside, not to mention we are now officially in Tour de France season, and this is my first Tour de France. Yeah, technically. Tour de Fleece is what I'm participating in, kind of. I haven't joined any of the forums, but I'm keeping an eye on everybody else's stuff, so I have been spinning a lot. Yeah, so let's jump into a little bit of an update I have. Yeah. Also trying to be a little bit more organized this time, instead of just throwing my stuff all over the floor like I usually do, because we all know how well that works out. So, first update is that I'm working on a Vellichor tee by Andrea Mowry. It has been pretty slow going. This is my second attempt at knitting this. Same cotton yarn has been used every time I've tried to make this, but this time I'm using a 100% cotton and then a merino, 2 merinos that are my hand spun. So this is what very little progress we have on that. So I'm also using my phone to record this, and I usually use a camera, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, so the blue and the yellow are my hand spun. And this has been really my before bed knitting kind of deal. I'm not really... I enjoy it, but I'm going to be honest, I really don't think I'm going to wear this. Which seems kind of silly. I think it's going to be a bit much for me, I say, as I'm in my neon tie-dye shirt, whatever. But, I don't know. We'll see. And I haven't decided yet either. It's supposed to be, so the bottom up t-shirt, cropped length, summer shirt. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the cropped length yet. I think initially I had decided that I was going to knit it a little bit longer, but A, I think I might run out of yarn, and B, it's a summer shirt. Why shouldn't it be cropped? This is the summer of getting outside of my comfort zone, so we'll see. Considering my yarn restraints, I think I might not have a choice. I need to see, so this is how much of the white I have left. I had this giant ball because so I started a Vellichor tee probably last spring, and I was using this and then the same yarn just in a navy blue, and I wanted kind of the navy blue striped a sailor shirt, right? But it's way too striped for that, so it looked not great. So I ripped that out. Then I took this and that same dark blue and tried to make a Friday tee. And this looked like absolute garbo knit up as, I think that's a fisherman's rib or a half fisherman's rib top. It just didn't look good. It didn't hold its stitch definition very well, which I think it's fine in this. It is a little splitty, I will say. I think it is Mayfair cotton from Hobby, I think. I've had it for so long, I don't want to swear by it, but it is a little splitty, and I do have a couple ends kind of... Oh, there's one. There's one. Yeah, that was a factory end that even as I was knitting it, and I was like, I should cut that and fix it. And I said, no, surely I can get it so that the ends, the tails, are on the wrong side of the fabric. It never works out that way. I always regret it. Oh well. Yeah, this has been just very casual kind of knits. Not too worried about it. It'll get done when it gets done. I can wear a t-shirt all year round. So, there's that. All I have to say about that. So my other project that I've been working on quite a bit actually is my pressed flowers shawl by, who is this by? Amy Christoffers. Ta-da! It's kind of a weird spot to show. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 repeats of the flower pattern. I think I'm aiming for 11, and then I'll start the border. And there it is. I'm using the dark red is West Yorkshire Spinners Blueface Luster, and the contrast color for the flowers is my hand spun, also Blueface Luster. So I got myself a little BFL shawl. It's really pretty, and the texture is like really, really nice. Very bumpy. I do enjoy it quite a bit. I did have a little bit of struggle. Pretty much everything I spin for fingering weight. And I'm not like a very experienced spinner. I've only been spinning since basically November, December. And then I really got into it earlier this year. But I had a real struggle trying to get, this is supposed to be a DK weight. I think it's closer to like a worsted. But my initial instinct is, go really fine. And so I was like, well, it has to be thicker. And I think I just kind of way overdid it. This is a 2-ply. Nothing terribly fancy. This is from Donna's Sheepshed. I bought her natural BFL last October at Rhinebeck. It was one of the first things of wool that I had purchased. And I really like it. So I bought it again. Because I spun up a bunch, but it's like really thick and thin, not very suitable for this project, and also way too light in its lighter spots, So I have I got 4 ounces of this? No, I got 8 ounces. I'm still questioning if it's going to be enough. So I've got like another half skein left, or cake. But the first cake I spun was really thick, and I made it through, I don't know. You can't really tell, which is why that's good, but my first couple of flowers are from that first skein, and it was really difficult. It was hard on my hands because it was so thick compared to what I needed it to be. So I've spun this up a little thinner, and this has been much better, but I still think it's a little bit too thick. But it's working. All that to say, it's working. Like, it's real thick. Granted, that's one of the thicker spots, but I don't really know what I was thinking. It was kind of one of those, oops, it's too late, just gonna make do, it'll be fine. Yeah, after I got through, I just kind of gave up reading the pattern. It had a lot of, she has like the first repeat of the flowers written out, and then she also has it charted, and the written out section was just not working for me. So I skipped to the charted, and then once you're actually in it and you realize that every flower starts the same number of stitches away from like your edge stitches. There's a mistake. Whoopsies. Maybe don't look at that side. But anyways, once you realize that it's the same number, in from the edge for every beginning flower repeat, it's like a breeze. You just go. And it's the same thing over and over and over again. So I'm going to do 11 flowers. And then I'm going to switch to the border. And the border is just, it kind of looks like you've got falling flowers, and then they get really dense kind of around the edge. And I don't know if I'm going to go back and pick up stitches and have like a knitted actual edge, because I don't think I like that. I don't like how that is bumpy and different colored all the way to the edge. I would rather that it just be like a solid maroon edging, but I'm also lazy, so I don't know if I'm actually going to do that. We'll see. I have a lot of projects that I would really like to go back and fix. Yeah, this might become one of those. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about it once it's actually off the needles. It's kind of hard to tell too, and it's like all crammed up on there how I'm going to like the whole finished product, but it is a very nice, it's a very soothing pattern. I do have to a little bit pay attention because I do find if I'm like reading or watching TV, I have a bad habit of getting all the way to the end and being off by like 1 or 2 stitches, and then I have to go back and be like, where did I skip it? Oh my gosh, and backtrack, and it's just not worth it. So, lesson learned, be a little bit more careful, pay attention. Yeah, I really like it, and I don't have a maroon shawl, so I'm pretty excited about this. I use them as scarves usually, but that was one thing I noticed this winter. I wear a black jacket and a lot of darker clothes, and I was like, you know, I have, I don't know if you can see it, you know, back there is my Aurora cabin shawl, and it's super duper bright. Most things I knit are a little brighter than what I generally wear, so this will be a good actual wardrobe staple, I think. So that's that. Yeah. Last time we talked, I was working on the Joni top by Natasha Hornsby, and I gave up. It's just really, you know, I was already in a slump, and sorry, I'm just getting real comfortable up in here. I was already in a slump. I was already not feeling great. I just decided that, like, I really just wasn't feeling it. I don't know. I think a lot of it is the yarn I chose. So I'm just going to let it sit for a little bit and then maybe come back to it with something else and give it another try and see how I feel about it. And I also kind of think that I'm just not in the headspace for anything super duper complicated right now. So, not that it's, you know, terribly difficult, but you do have to pay attention to that lace chart. And it is in the front, so if you mess up, people are going to be staring right at it all the time. So, yeah, I just put it on hold. It's just living on some stitch, like a bar cord at the moment, and I will decide what to do about that later. So instead, I cast it on the Salty Ear Tee. So I bought linen quill last summer when they had a sale, before I realized that Purl Soho always has a sale. They're kind of like Michael's that way, like, there's always something on sale. Not that I'm complaining. But, so I bought 2 skeins of linen quill, and I don't remember the name of this, but it's very pretty color. And I've already used up the whole first skein, and I am on the body of my, ta-da, Salty Ear Tee. Don't know if that's, you know, showing the best, but there she is. I quite like it. I think that the fabric is really nice. I have to say, when I first got the yarn, I was not impressed. Everybody loves linen quill. It's like the thing, you know. Everybody talks about how great it is. They always use it for their half and half triangles wrap, and I got it out of the mail, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, that's cool. It's yarn. It wasn't some fantastic, exciting thing like I thought it was going to be. But while I'm working with it, I'm very much enjoying this. It is the linen sometimes linen feels like squeaky. And I don't know if that's the right term. That's the only thing that comes to mind. It has like a texture to it, which I don't necessarily mind, but it is a little, especially when, you know, I'm spinning so much wool right now, and I switch to linen, I'm like, it's weird. But this is not bad, and it is a blend. I can tell you what it's a blend of. Let's check. It's kind of handy being at my desk because I can actually look stuff up. Okay, linen quills, 50% wool, 35% alpaca, and 15% linen. So very low linen content. There are some like pokey bits I have noticed, but yeah, all in all, it's really quite nice. It's got a really nice stitch definition. I really like it. I think it's going to make a lovely shirt. I'm really excited to see how this blocks out. It's very stretchy too. Yeah, this has been my main knit, honestly. The reap so far, the pattern's been pretty great. The repeat for the yoke is super simple, very straightforward. She has you separated out in, I think it's sets of 11. That might be a lie. Don't quote me on that. But she has every repeat sectioned off with stitch markers, which makes it super duper easy. You know, you lose your place, you just count back 10, 15, however many are in that set, and start over, no big deal. I'm probably halfway through the body. Probably. And this is a short sleeve top, so I'll just be picking up my little sleeves, and that'll be that. I'm excited to have this. This has been on my to knit list for quite a while. And I kind of realized, like, it's getting to be It's mid-July now, so not that we're not going to still be warm for quite a while. And again, I can wear t-shirts all winter long, especially at work because my office is so hot in the winter. But, you know, I'd like to be able to get some good summer use out of this. And I think it'll look nice with my estuary skirt that I made that is a khaki color. So that's the plan. And that is all my knitting, I think. Yeah. Not much. And that's okay. I would like to finish these before I start anything else. And I say that, but I'm going to immediately follow that up with, I'm about to cast on the Attune shawl. So Andrea Mowry is doing another Spin It to Knit It. She did a Spin It to Knit It knit along last year. It was a year-long year-long knit along for the Weekender. And I was not a spinner. I thought briefly earlier this year, like, oh, it'd be really good practice, especially keeping consistency, to just sit down, make myself spin a sweater's quantity worth of, I guess it'd be worsted weight if it's the Weekender, yeah, worsted weight yarn. Great practice, just do it and knit another one. I already have two, and I do wear them quite a bit. My first one I made is huge, and like way too huge. All of her stuff was oversized, which is great, and she's a very petite woman. I'm not as petite, and I find that because I have a larger bust, sometimes the larger items just kind of, you know, they fit fairly well up top, and then they just kind of hang, and they don't always necessarily look good on me. So my second one I did a smaller gauge, and I did less. I don't think I did a smaller size. I think it just did smaller needles and a thinner yarn. I had less ease and it looked great and I love it and I wear that one all the time. But my giant one I just throw on, and it's my travel sweater, it's my hiking sweater, it's my I'm around the house and I'm cold sweater. It's always on. And it is made out of an acrylic yarn I got as a gift. And so I just toss that sucker in the wash and it's no big deal. So, all that to say, I did think about making another one and I didn't. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I would have felt like I needed to make it to that timeline. And that the cal might be ending this month. Or it might have ended last month. I'm not sure. But she's also now doing a Spin It to Knit It for her Attune shawl. And that one is running July to September. So a much, much shorter time frame. So I have been focusing most of my Tour de Fleece, I gotta stop doing that. Tour de Fleece spinning has mostly been for my Attune shawl. So let me show you. Also, if you hear snoring, it's because my golden retriever's snoring at my feet. It's kind of cute, and I can't lie. Okay, so this is the first skein that I finished for Tour de Fleece. This is 100% Polworth, undyed, all natural. So the Attune shawl calls for 2 sport weight yarns, but she also says in there, like, it was kind of intended for hand spun, so the weight is a little, you know, you can kind of fudge it. Pretty sure this is more strictly fingering weight for the most part. This is so soft. I've been wanting to spin some Polworth. It was really funny when I went to the MarylinnS Sheep and Wool Festival. That was on my list of things to buy was Polworth, and I did. And I still haven't I haven't spun anything I bought in Maryland. I have this giant bag and it's hanging in my closet to presumably keep pests and moths and everything out of it. It's full of like herbs. It's really quite nice, but I haven't touched any of it. I bought all that wool. But I don't like to spin without knowing what the project is that I'm spinning for, because then I'm afraid that it'll be like some of my earlier skeins that it's like, well, I mean, I spun it up super fine. I don't have anything to use it for. Or it's a chunkier weight, and I don't really knit all that often with chunky weight yarn. So I'm holding off until I have plans. So bought this online, spun it up, yada yada. It's very beautiful. It's really soft. I love Polworth. It was a dream to spin with. I like fine wool, apparently. I also ordered a matchless spinning wheel. That was my gigantic expense, huge expense. Yeah. I scheduled a test drive down in Richmond. It's the closest place that had wheels to test. to me. So drove an hour and a half down there. My husband and I made a day out of it. He was so patient, bless his heart. So we go in. It was at Dances with Wool in Richmond. Super nice shop. Lovely people. Everybody was so nice. We had the best time. So I was with, the lady said that usually when she's doing these test drives, it's for people that have never spun before. So she had the Ladybug, the flat iron, and the matchless set out for me to try. And of course she was like, nobody really buys the flat iron, and it hasn't really been used in a long time, so I have to kind of like get it set up and ready to go. And I decided I didn't want it anyway, so I told her just not worry about it. But the Ladybug, the girl that had been in just before me to test drive, had never spun anything before. So she was like, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a first spin. It was real thick to thin, and it was kind of nice though, because I was only supposed to be there for like an hour. We were there for maybe 2.5 hours, and she just kept like, she said, oh, it's nice being able to talk to somebody that understands what we're talking about, the terms, you have some spinning experience. She's like, let's try this flyer, let's try this, let's try that, blah, blah, blah. She's going in and out the back room. We're trying all these different things, and my husband's just kind of sitting there, and he realized that the flat iron, where as you treadled I don't know what they're called, the sticks that make the wheel turn from the pedals, they were rubbing against the frame of the spinning wheel, and it was just like causing this really nasty groove in it. So he just sits down and he's like, I've got extra tools in the car, comes in with different screwdrivers, and the lady was like, well, we were going to take it apart. He's like, I'll take it apart. He's just doing all this stuff while she and I are just chatting. And he got it mostly fixed, but the fact that it was even doing that really told me I didn't want that wheel. Not to mention it's huge. So I got sucked in. I bought the matchless. She actually really, what was interesting was like, it was not a super not sales pitchy at all. She was like, honestly, I'm a teacher. I love to spin. I own a matchless. You do what you want to do. The Ladybug can probably do everything you're going to want to do. It's just like, this one's really nice, but this is the Mercedes of spinning wheels. She was like, so it's up to you to decide how much you want to spend, blah, yada, yada. So I bought it. Spent all the money, and it's not even shipping until August. I didn't realize they're made to order, which kind of sucks because I want it now, but, I'll be patient. I'll be patient. So anyways, that's my other big news. I bought a matchless, and eventually I'll have it in my hands. Yeah, and I'm spinning all this like, wouldn't it be nice? My matchless. We'll get there, though. It'll be fine. Anywho. So, today I will be scanning. I will be plying up the other skein of this. I have the singles finished. I finished them last night. So I'll be plying this afternoon after I get off. Wash it. Put it on the line to dry. It's the best part about summer and spinning. Everything dries like that. I have a outdoor line. I'm really rambly, sorry. The fun part of it is this beautiful color. Ta-da! This is Malabrigo Noob, which I kept calling it Nude with a D, and that is not the name of this yarn. It is Noob with a B as in boy. And it comes in a very tightly packed, come on, you can do it, tightly packed braid. I mean, it's very compact. So, the lady at the wool shop was like, yeah, try steaming it, and it should just release those fibers and make it a lot easier. Probably still gonna have to pre-draft some. So, I did that. I put a little reel on Instagram. It really worked. It fluffed up really well, but I should have pre-drafted more because I really struggled with this. And I had heard from other people that it is not the easiest dyed merino to like start with, because I think it was Casey Apple. This was like her first spin was with one of these, and I can't imagine. It was hard on my wrists because I didn't pre-draft enough, and it had a lot of like slubby parts in it too, which was interesting. And I could spin some of them out, like finger comb it a little bit, and then it would spin out. But some of them I just had to pick it out. It's almost like it had felted, I guess, in whatever process they use. I don't know, especially the ends. The beginning and the end of the braid were really kind of gross. And it had like an oil on it too. I don't know. Anyways, all that to say, it spun up absolutely beautifully, and it is so soft. I was kind of surprised. Like, next to the Polworth, the not raw fiber, but the unspun fiber, I would have said the Polworth was going to come out a lot softer. But this just, every time I walk by, I just got to touch it. I can't wait to knit with this. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So, I do have to spin. I haven't done anything with my second braid of that, which looks like this. I did pre-draft. Ooh, she do be fluffy. There's just a lot of it. It's just like a big old cloud of nice. It also doesn't smell sheepy, which is kind of disappointing. I like the smell of sheep when I'm spinning. It smells like nothing. It's weird. I mean, it's factory prepped, so yay. But I was also really interested in how the colors came out too, because there's some pretty strong yellows, some really strong purples somewhere in here. This one has more dark blue than the other. They're the same colorway, but they, the dyes are obviously different. Yeah, and then it came out kind of like muted. But I don't think I would have guessed that those are the same. But I am here for it, because I was kind of afraid that it was going to be too much neon next to this white. I was a little worried about that, but I think it toned it down enough that I think that that's going to be very pretty. So, that's that. My other plan for Tour de Fleece is, that's a lot. I bought this initially thinking that I was going to use it for, very pretty. I initially thought I was going to use this for the Alpine Bloom top by Caitlin Hunter. My initial thought, let me show you. So, my initial thought was I was going to use this that I had left over from a t-shirt I made for my sister-in-law last year. It is a Drops Baby Merino. Very, very fine yarn. I was going to use this and this to do the Alpine Bloom. And I might still, but I don't know if that's too much of a contrast. And also I'm really liking the way that this is done. I don't honestly 100% know, but I'm assuming that they did it like on a drum carder and they just rolled the different colors together. I have one other hand-dyed braid that would look really pretty with that downstairs that I got at Rhinebeck. And I was kind of thinking I might do that because then I'll get the color change a little bit more. But I'm not sure. What do you think? Is this too contrasty? Then I almost thought if I did a darker wool, this is in the repair pile. Like these two colors together I think look really good. That really dark gray. That's a Drops Flora, which I've really liked. This is another Caitlin Hunter pattern. I've decided I want to make this a little bit longer, so this is on my summer fix. I'm going to rip the hem out, and I have like 2 or 3 balls left of the Flora, so no big deal. Very simple fix, and I think I'll get lots and lots more use out of it. I love this sweater. I wear it all the time, even now. Okay, I think that's all I have. It was very rambly. I guess the moral of this podcast this week is to do what makes you happy. I am just not about the time constraints or like the pressure to post stuff on Instagram or, on YouTube. I enjoy it, but the minute that I start feeling like I have to do it, it's not fun anymore. So I had to kind of get out of that headspace of like the stress level with it, because it is fun. This is supposed to be fun. It's like, connecting with a community that I don't necessarily have in person, and I've met a lot of really nice people online and I very much enjoy it, but if I'm making myself not enjoy it, then it doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? And a lot of that's definitely in my head, so I am not going to stress about it, basically, is what I'm saying. So do whatever makes you happy. If you're knitting or you're spinning, if you're in Tour de Fleece. Said it right that time? Let me know. I'd be very interested to see what you're doing. The Ravelry threads have been great. It's kind of funny that they're like, just post 1 picture a day. And at first it's like, why would they say only 1 picture a day? And then I realized it's a lot of pictures. It's many, many days. I think there's only been 1 day that I missed actually spinning. And I still did fiber prep, so I'm going to count that as my participation. Not that it matters. If you make it, you make it. And if you don't, that's okay too. But I did fluff that whole Malabrigo just watching TV one night. And that was easy enough, so. Any old who, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying your summer. Get out there. Oh, only if you're in the northern hemisphere. Otherwise, I hope you're enjoying your winter. Oh, it's so weird. I really need to travel south of the equator so that I can wrap my brain around the fact that we're not all on the same time schedule here. But anyway, I hope that you are having a wonderful time doing whatever it is you're doing. Get some knitting in. Get some spinning in. I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye for now.